Shalom, and welcome back to the Cepher Daily Readings. I am Trish. Thank you for stopping by to follow along. I pray this is a blessing to you, and may it honor our Father. Thank you to the Most High Yah Yahuwah, in the name of the Son, the only begotten Son, the Word that became flesh, Yahusha, or Yahushai HaMashiach. We are in Jasher, Yashar, chapter 41. And at the revolution of the year, the sons of Yaakov journeyed from Shechem, and they came to Hebron to their father Yitzhak, and they dwelt there. But their flocks and herds they fed daily in Shechem, for there was there in those days good and fat pasture. And Yaakov and his sons and all their household dwelt in the valley of Hebron. And it was in those days, in that year, being the 106th year of the life of Yaakov, and the 10th year of Yaakov's coming from Padan Aram, that Leah, the woman of Yaakov, died. She was 51 years old when she died in Hebron. And Yaakov and his sons buried her in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which is in Hebron, which Abraham had bought from the children of Heth for the possession of a burial place. And the sons of Yaakov dwelt with their father in the valley of Hebron, and all the inhabitants of the land knew their strength, and their fame went throughout the land. And Joseph, the son of Yaakov, and his brother Binyamin, the sons of Rachel, the woman of Yaakov, were yet young in those days, and did not go out with their brethren during their battles in all the cities of the Amorim. And when Joseph saw the strength of his brethren, and their greatness, he praised them, and extolled them. But he ranked himself greater than them, and extolled himself above them. And Yaakov his father also loved him more than any of his sons, for he was a son of his old age, and through his love toward him he made him a coat of many colors. And when Joseph saw that his father loved him more than his brethren, he continued to exalt himself above his brethren, and he brought unto his father evil reports concerning them. And the sons of Yaakov, seeing the whole of Joseph's conduct toward them, and that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably to him all the days. And Joseph was 17 years old, and he was still magnifying himself above his brethren, and thought of raising himself above them. At that time he dreamed a dream, and he came unto his brothers and told them his dream. And he said unto them, I dreamed a dream, and behold, we were all binding sheaves in the field. And my sheaf rose and placed itself upon the ground, and your sheaves surrounded it and bowed down to it. And his brethren answered him and said unto him, What does this dream mean that you did dream? Do you imagine in your heart to reign or rule over us? And he still came and told the thing to his father Yaakov. And Yaakov kissed Joseph when he heard these words from his mouth. And Yaakov blessed Joseph. And when the sons of Yaakov saw that their father had blessed Joseph and had kissed him, and that he loved him exceedingly, they became jealous of him, and hated him the more. And after this, Joseph dreamed another dream, and related the dream to his father in the presence of his brethren. And Joseph said unto his father and brethren, Behold, I have again dreamed a dream, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bowed down to me. And his father heard the words of Joseph and his dream. And seeing that his brethren hated Joseph on account of this matter, Yaakov therefore rebuked Joseph before his brethren on account of this thing, saying, What means this dream which you have dreamed, and this magnifying yourself before your brethren, who are older than you are? Do you imagine in your heart that I and your mother and your 11 brethren will come and bow down to you, that you speak these things? And his brethren were jealous of him on account of his words and dreams, and they continued to hate him, and Yaakov reserved the dreams in his heart. And the sons of Yaakov went one day to feed their father's flock in Shechem, for they were still herdsmen in those days. And while the sons of Yaakov were that day feeding in Shechem, they delayed. And the time of gathering in the cattle was past, and they had not arrived. And Yaakov saw that his sons were delayed in Shechem. And Yaakov said within himself, Perchance the people of Shechem have risen up to fight against them. Therefore they have delayed coming this day. And Yaakov called Joseph his son and commanded him, saying, Behold, your brethren are feeding in Shechem this day, and behold, they have not yet come back. Go now, therefore, and see where they are, and bring me word back concerning the welfare of your brethren and the welfare of the flock. And Yaakov sent his son Joseph to the valley of Hebron, and Joseph came for his brothers to Shechem, and could not find them. And Joseph went about the field, which was near Shechem, to see where his brothers had turned. And he missed his road in the wilderness, and knew not which way he should go. And an angel of Yahuwah found him wandering in the road toward the field. And Joseph said unto the angel of Yahuwah, I seek my brethren. Have you not heard where they are feeding? And the angel of Yahuwah said unto Joseph, I saw your brethren feeding there, and I heard them say they would go to feed to Dothan. And Joseph hearkened to the voice of the angel of Yahuwah, and he went to his brethren in Dothan, and he found them in Dothan feeding the flock. And Joseph advanced to his brethren, and before he had come nigh unto them, they had resolved to slay him. And Shimon said to his brethren, Behold, the man of dreams is coming unto us this day. And now therefore come and let us kill him, and cast him in one of the pits that are in the wilderness. And when his father shall seek him from us, we will say an evil beast has devoured him. And Reuben heard the words of his brethren concerning Joseph, and he said unto them, You should not do this thing, for how can we look up to our father Yaakov? Cast him into this pit to die there, but stretch not forth a hand upon him to spill his blood. And Reuben said this in order to deliver him from their hand, to bring him back to his father. And when Joseph came to his brethren, he sat before them, and they rose upon him, and seized him, and smote him to the earth, and stripped the coat of many colors which he had on. And they took him, and cast him into a pit. And in the pit there was no water, but serpents and scorpions. And Joseph was afraid of the serpents and scorpions that were in the pit. And Joseph cried out with a loud voice, and Yahuwah hid the serpents and scorpions in the sides of the pit, and they did no harm unto Joseph. And Joseph called out from the pit to his brethren, and said unto them, What have I done unto you, and in what have I sinned? Why do you not fear Yahuwah concerning me? Am I not of your bones and flesh? And is not Yaakov your father, my father? Why do you do this thing unto me this day? And how will you be able to look up to your father Yaakov? And he continued to cry out and call unto his brethren from the pit. And he said, O Yehuda, Shimon, and Levi, my brethren, lift me up from the place of darkness in which you have placed me, and come this day to have compassion on me, you children of Yahuwah, and sons of Yaakov my father. And if I have sinned unto you, are you not the sons of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov? If they saw an orphan, they had compassion over him, or one that was hungry, they gave him bread to eat, or one that was thirsty, they gave him water to drink, or one that was naked, they covered him with garments. And how then will you withhold your pity from your brother? For I am of your flesh and bones. And if I have sinned unto you, surely you will do this on account of my father. And Joseph spoke these words from the pit, and his brethren could not listen to him, nor incline their ears to the words of Joseph. And Joseph was crying and weeping in the pit. And Joseph said, Oh, that my father knew this day the act which my brothers have done unto me, and the words which they have this day spoken unto me. And all his brethren heard his cries and weeping in the pit. And his brethren went and removed themselves from the pit, so that they might not hear the cries of Joseph and his weeping in the pit. Chapter 42. And they went and sat on the opposite side, about the distance of a bow shot. And they sat there to eat bread. And while they were eating, they held counsel together what was to be done with him, whether to slay him or to bring him back to his father. They were holding the counsel when they lifted up their eyes and saw, and behold, there was a company of Ishmaelim coming at a distance by the road of Gilad, going down to Mitzrayim. And Yehuda said unto them, What gain will it be to us if we slay our brother? Perchance Elohim will require him from us. This then is the counsel proposed concerning him, which you shall do unto him. Behold this company of Yishmaelim going down to Mitzrayim. Now, therefore, come let us dispose of him to them, and let not our hand be upon him, and they will lead him along with them, and he will be lost amongst the people of the land, and we will not put him to death with our own hands. And the proposal pleased his brethren, and they did according to the word of Yahudah. And while they were discoursing about this matter, and before the company of Yishmaelim had come up to them, 7 trading men of Midian passed by, and as they passed, they were thirsty. And they lifted up their eyes and saw the pit in which Yosef was immured. And they looked, and behold, every species of bird was upon him. And these Midianim ran to the pit to drink water, for they thought that it contained water. And on coming before the pit, they heard the voice of Yosef crying and weeping in the pit. And they looked down into the pit, and they saw, and behold, there was a youth of comely appearance and well favored. And they called unto him and said, Who are you? And who brought you hither? And who placed you in this pit, in the wilderness? And they all assisted to raise up Yosef, and they drew him out, and brought him up from the pit, and took him, and went away on their journey, and passed by his brethren. And these said unto them, Why do you do this, to take our servant from us, and to go away? Surely we placed this youth in the pit because he rebelled against us, and you come and bring him up and lead him away? Now then, give us back our servant. And the Midianim answered and said unto the sons of Yaakov, Is this your servant? Or does this man attend you? Perchance you are all his servants, for he is more comely and well favored than any of you. And why do you all speak falsely unto us? Now, therefore, we will not listen to your words, nor attend to you. For we found the youth in the pit in the wilderness, and we took him. We will therefore go on. And all the sons of Yaakov approached them and rose up to them and said unto them, Give us back our servant. And why will you all die by the edge of the sword? And the Midianim cried out against them, and they drew their swords and approached to fight with the sons of Yaakov. And behold, Shimon rose up from his seat against them and sprang upon the ground, and drew his sword and approached the Midianim, and he gave a terrible shout before them, so that his shouting was heard at a distance, and the earth shook at Shimon's shouting. And the Midianim were terrified on account of Shimon, and the noise of his shouting, and they fell upon their faces, and were excessively alarmed. And Shimon said unto them, Truly I am Shimon, the son of Yaakov the Ivri, who have only with my brother destroyed the city of Shechem, and the cities of the Amorim. So shall Elohim moreover do unto me, that if all your brethren, the people of Midian, and also the kings of Canaan, were to come with you, they could not fight against me. Now, therefore, give us back the youth whom you have taken, lest I give your flesh to the birds of the skies and the beasts of the earth. And the Midianim were more afraid of Shimon, and they approached the sons of Yaakov with terror and fright, and with pathetic words, saying, Surely you have said that the young man is your servant, and that he rebelled against you, and therefore you placed him in the pit. What then will you do with a servant who rebels against his Adonai? Now therefore sell him unto us, and we will give you all that you require for him. And Yahuwah was pleased to do this in order that the sons of Yaakov should not slay their brother. And the Midianim saw that Yosef was of a comely appearance and well favored. They desired him in their hearts and were urgent to purchase him from his brethren. And the sons of Yaakov hearkened to the Midianim, and they sold their brother Yosef to them for 20 pieces of silver. And Reuben their brother was not with them. And the Midianim took Yosef and continued their journey to Gilad. They were going along the road, and the Midianim repented of what they had done in having purchased the young man. And one said to the other, What is this that we have done, in taking this youth from the Ivriim, who is of comely appearance and well favored? Perhaps this youth is stolen from the land of the Ivriim. And why then have we done this thing? And if he should be sought for and found in our hand, we shall die through him. Now, surely, hardy and powerful men have sold him to us, the strength of one of whom you saw this day. Perhaps they stole him from his land with their might and with their powerful arm, and have therefore sold him to us for the small value which we gave unto them. And while they were thus discoursing together, they looked, and behold, the company of Yishmaelim, which was coming at first, and which the sons of Yaakov saw, was advancing toward the Midianim. And the Midianim said to each other, Come, let us sell this youth to the company of Yishmaelim, who are coming toward us, and we will take for him the little that we gave for him, and we will be delivered from his evil. And they did so. And they reached the Yishmaelim, and the Midianim sold Yosef to the Yishmaelim for 20 pieces of silver, which they had given for him to his brethren. And the Midianim went on their road to Gilad. And the Yishmaelim took Yosef, and they let him ride upon one of the camels, and they were leading him to Mitzrayim. And Yosef heard that the Yishmaeli were proceeding to Mitzrayim. And Yosef lamented and wept at this thing, that he was to be so far removed from the land of Canaan, from his father. And he wept bitterly while he was riding upon the camel. And one of their men observed him, and made him go down from the camel and walk on foot. And notwithstanding this, Yosef continued to cry and weep. And he said, O my father, my father. And one of the Yishmaelim rose up and smote Yosef upon the cheek, and still he continued to weep. And Yosef was fatigued in the road, and was unable to proceed on account of the bitterness of his soul. And they all smote him and afflicted him in the road, and they terrified him in order that he might cease from weeping. And Yahuwah saw the ambition of Yosef and his trouble. And Yahuwah brought down upon those men darkness and confusion, and the hand of everyone that smote him became withered. And they said to each other, What is this thing that Elohim has done to us in the road? And they knew not that this befell them on account of Yosef. And the men proceeded on the road, and they passed along the road of Ephrathah, where Rachel was buried. And Yosef reached his mother's grave. And Yosef hastened and ran to his mother's grave, and fell upon the grave and wept. And Yosef cried aloud upon his mother's grave, and he said, O my mother, O you who did give me birth, awake now, and rise and see your son, how he has been sold for a slave, and no one to pity him. O rise and see your son, weep with me on account of my troubles, and see the heart of my brethren. Arouse, my mother, arouse, awake from your sleep for me, and direct your battles against my brethren. Oh, how have they stripped me of my coat, and sold me already twice for a slave, and separated me from my father, and there is no one to pity me. Arouse and lay your cause against them before Elohim, and see whom Elohim will justify in the judgment, and whom he will condemn. Rise, O my mother, rise, awake from your sleep, and see my father how his soul is with me this day, and comfort him and ease his heart. And Yosef continued to speak these words. And Yosef cried aloud and wept bitterly upon his mother's grave. And he ceased speaking, and from bitterness of heart he became still as a stone upon the grave. And Yosef heard a voice speaking to him from beneath the ground, which answered him with bitterness of heart, and with the voice of weeping and praying in these words, my son, Yosef, I have heard the voice of your weeping and the voice of your lamentation. I have seen your tears. I know your troubles, my son, and it grieves me for your sake, and abundant grief is added to my grief. Now, therefore, my son, Yosef, my son, hope to Yahuwah, and wait for him, and do not fear, for Yahuwah is with you. He will deliver you from all trouble. Rise, my son, go down unto Mitzrayim with your Adonim, and do not fear, for Yahuwah is with you, my son. And she continued to speak like unto these words unto Yosef, and she was still. And Yosef heard this, and he wondered greatly at this, and he continued to weep. And after this, one of the Yishmaelim observed him crying and weeping upon the grave, and his anger was kindled against him. And he drove him from there, and he smote him and cursed him. And Yosef said unto the men, May I find grace in your sight to take me back to my father's house, and he will give you abundance of riches. And they answered him, saying, Are you not a slave? And where is your father? And if you had a father, you would not already twice have been sold for a slave, for so little value. And their anger was still roused against him, and they continued to smite him and to chastise him. And Yosef wept bitterly. And Yahuwah saw Yosef's affliction, and Yahuwah again smote these men, and chastised them. And Yahuwah caused darkness to envelop them upon the earth, and the lightning flashed, and the thunder roared. And the earth shook at the voice of the thunder and of the mighty wind. And the men were terrified and knew not where they should go. And the beasts and camels stood still, and they led them, but they would not go. They smote them, and they crouched upon the ground. And the men said to each other, What is this that Elohim has done to us? What are our transgressions, and what are our sins that this thing has thus befallen us? And one of them answered and said unto them, Perhaps on account of the sin of afflicting the slave has this thing happened this day to us. Now, therefore, implore him strongly to forgive us, and then we shall know on whose account this evil befalls us. And if Elohim shall have compassion over us, then we shall know that all this comes to us on account of the sin of afflicting the slave. And the men did so, and they supplicated Yosef and pressed him to forgive them. And they said, We have sinned to Yahuwah and to you. Now, therefore, vouchsafe to request of your Elohim that he shall put away this death from amongst us, for we have sinned to him. And Yosef did according to their words. And Yahuwah hearkened to Yosef, and Yahuwah put away the plague which he had inflicted upon those men on account of Yosef. And the beasts rose up from the ground, and they conducted them, and they went on. And the raging storm abated, and the earth became tranquilized. And the men proceeded on their journey to go down to Mitzrayim. And the men knew that this evil had befallen them on account of Yosef. And they said to each other, Behold, we know that it was on account of his affliction that this evil befell us. Now, therefore, why shall we bring this death upon our souls? Let us hold counsel what to do to the slave. And one answered and said, Surely he told us to bring him back to his father. Now, therefore, come, let us take him back, and we will go to the place that he will tell us, and take from his family the price that we gave for him, and we will then go away. And one answered again and said, Behold, this counsel is very good, but we cannot do so, for the way is very far from us, and we cannot go out of our road. And one more answered and said unto them, This is the counsel to be adopted. We will not swerve from it. Behold, we are this day going to Mitzrayim. And when we shall have come to Mitzrayim, we will sell him there at a high price, and we will be delivered from his evil. And this thing pleased the men, and they did so, and they continued their journey to Mitzrayim with Yosef. Chapter 43. And when the sons of Yaakov had sold their brother Yosef to the Midianim, their hearts were smitten on account of him, and they repented of their acts, and they sought for him to bring him back, but could not find him. And Reuben returned to the pit in which Yosef had been put, in order to lift him out and restore him to his father. And Reuben stood by the pit, and he heard not a word. And he called out, Yosef, Yosef! And no one answered or uttered a word. And Reuben said, Yosef has died through fright, or some serpent has caused his death. And Reuben descended into the pit, and he searched for Yosef and could not find him in the pit. And he came out again. And Reuben tore his garments, and he said, The child is not there. And how shall I reconcile my father about him if he is dead? And he went to his brethren, and found them grieving on account of Yosef, and counseling together how to reconcile their father about him. And Reuben said unto his brethren, I came to the pit, and behold, Yosef was not there. What then shall we say unto our father? For my father will only seek the lad from me. And his brethren answered him, saying, Thus and thus we did, and our hearts afterward smote us on account of this act. And we now sit to seek a pretext how we shall reconcile our father to it. And Reuben said unto them, What is this you have done to bring down the gray hairs of our father in sorrow to Sheol? This thing is not good that you have done. And Reuben sat with them, and they all rose up and swore to each other not to tell this thing unto Yaakov. And they all said, The man who will tell this to our father or his household, or who will report this to any of the children of the land, we will all rise up against him and slay him with the sword. And the sons of Yaakov feared each other in this matter, from the youngest to the oldest, and no one spoke a word. And they concealed the thing in their hearts. And they afterward sat down to determine and invent something to say unto their father Yaakov concerning all these things. And Yishakar said unto them, Here is some advice for you, if it seems good in your eyes to do this thing. Take the coat which belongs to Yosef, and tear it, and kill a kid of the goats, and dip it in its blood, and send it to our father, and when he sees it, he will say, An evil beast has devoured him. Therefore tear you his coat, and behold, his blood will be upon his coat. And by your doing this we shall be free of our father's murmurings. And Yissakar's advice pleased them, and they hearkened unto him, and they did according to the word of Yissachar, which he had counseled them. And they hastened and took Joseph's coat and tore it, and they killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood of the kid, and then trampled it in the dust. And they sent the coat to their father Yaakov by the hand of Naphtali, and they commanded him to say these words: We had gathered in the cattle, and had come as far as the road to Shechem, and farther, when we found this coat upon the road in the wilderness, dipped in blood and in dust. Now, therefore, know whether it be your son's coat or not. And Naphtali went, and he came unto his father, and he gave him the coat. And he spoke unto him all the words which his brethren had commanded him. And Yaakov saw Joseph's coat, and he knew it. And he fell upon his face to the ground, and became as still as a stone. And he afterward rose up and cried out with a loud and weeping voice, and he said, It is the coat of my son Joseph. And Yaakov hastened, and sent one of his servants to his sons, who went to them, and found them coming along the road with the flock. And the sons of Yaakov came to their father about evening, and behold, their garments were torn, and dust was upon their heads. And they found their father crying out and weeping with a loud voice. And Yaakov said unto his sons, Tell me truly, what evil have you this day suddenly brought upon me? And they answered their father Yaakov, saying, We were coming along this day after the flock had been gathered in, and we came as far as the city of Shechem by the road in the wilderness, and we found this coat filled with blood upon the ground, and we knew it, and we sent unto you if you could know it. And Yaakov heard the words of his sons, and he cried out with a loud voice, and he said, It is the coat of my son. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is rent in pieces. For I sent him this day to see whether it was well with you, and well with the flocks, and to bring me word again from you. And he went as I commanded him. And this has happened to him this day, while I thought my son was with you. And the sons of Yaakov answered and said, We did not. And the sons of Yaakov answered and said, He did not come to us, neither have we seen him from the time of our going out from you until now. And when Yaakov heard their words, he again cried out aloud, and he rose up and tore his garments, and he put sackcloth upon his loins, and he wept bitterly, and he mourned, and lifted up his voice in weeping, and exclaimed and said these words: Yosef, my son, O my son Yosef, I sent you this day after the welfare of your brethren, and behold, you have been torn in pieces. Through my hand has this happened to my son. It grieves me for you, Yosef, my son. It grieves me for you. How sweet were you to me during life, and now how exceedingly bitter is your death to me. Oh, that I had died in your stead, Yosef, my son, for it grieves me sadly for you, my son. Oh, my son, my son. Yosef, my son, where are you? And where have you been drawn? Arouse, arouse from your place, and come and see my grief for you, O my son Yosef. Come now and number the tears gushing from my eyes down my cheeks, and bring them up before Yahuwah, that his anger may turn from me. O Yosef, my son, how did you fall? By the hand of one by whom no one had fallen from the beginning of the world unto this day. For you have been put to death by the smiting of an enemy, inflicted with cruelty. But surely I know that this has happened to you on account of the multitude of my sins. Arouse now and see how bitter my trouble is for you, my son. Although I did not rear you, nor fashion you, nor give you breath and soul, but it was Elohim who formed you and built your bones and covered them with flesh, and breathed in your nostrils the breath of life, and then he gave you unto me. Now, truly Elohim, who gave you unto me, he has taken you from me. And such then has befallen you this day. And all the works of Elohim are good. And Yaakov continued to speak like unto these words concerning Yosef. And he wept bitterly. He fell to the ground and became still. And all the sons of Yaakov, seeing their father's trouble, they repented of what they had done. And they also wept bitterly. And Yahudah rose up and lifted his father's head from the ground, and placed it upon his lap. And he wiped his father's tears from his cheeks. And Yahudah wept an exceeding great weeping, while his father's head was reclining upon his lap, still as a stone. And the sons of Yaakov saw their father's trouble, and they lifted up their voices and continued to weep. And Yaakov was lying upon the ground, still as a stone. And all his sons and his servants' children rose up and stood round him to comfort him, and he refused to be comforted. And the whole household of Yaakov rose up and mourned a great mourning on account of Yosef and their father's trouble. And the intelligence reached Yitzhak, the son of Abraham, the father of Yaakov, and he wept bitterly on account of Yosef, he and all his household. And he went from the place where he dwelt in Hebron, and his men with him. And he comforted Yaakov his son, and he refused to be comforted. And after this, Yaakov rose up from the ground, and his tears were running down his cheeks. And he said unto his sons, Rise up and take your swords and your bows, and go forth into the field, and seek whether you can find my son's body, and bring it unto me that I may bury it. Seek also, I pray you, among the beasts, and hunt them, and that which shall come the first before you cease, and bring it unto me. Perhaps Yahuwah will this day pity my affliction, and prepare before you that which did tear my son in pieces, and bring it unto me, and I will avenge the cause of my son. And his sons did as their father had commanded them, and they rose up early in the morning, and each took his sword and his bow in his hand, and they went forth into the field to hunt the beasts. And Yaakov was still crying aloud and weeping, and walking to and fro in the house, and smiting his hands together, saying, Yosef, my son, Yosef, my son. And the sons of Yaakov went into the wilderness to seize the beasts. And behold, a wolf came toward them, and they seized him, and brought him unto their father. And they said unto him, This is the first we have found, and we have brought him unto you as you did command us. And your son's body we could not find. And Yaakov took the beast from the hands of his sons, and he cried out with a loud and weeping voice, holding the beast in his hand. And he spoke with a bitter heart unto the beast, Why did you devour my son Yosef? And how? Did you have no fear of the Elohim of the earth, or of my trouble for my son Yosef? And you did devour my son for naught, because he committed no violence, and did thereby render me culpable on his account. Therefore Elohim will require him that it is persecuted. And Yahuwah opened the mouth of the beast in order to comfort Yaakov with its words. And it answered Yaakov and spoke these words unto him: As Elohim lives, who created us in the earth, and as your soul lives, my Adonai, I did not see your son, neither did I tear him to pieces. But from a distant land I also came to seek my son who went from me this day, and I know not whether he be living or dead. And I came this day into the field to seek my son, and your sons found me, and seized me, and increased my grief, and have this day brought me before you, and I have now spoken all my words to you. And now, therefore, O son of Adam, I am in your hands, and do unto me this day as it may seem good in your sight. But by the life of Elohim, who created me, I did not see your son, nor did I tear him to pieces, neither has the flesh of man entered my mouth all the days of my life. And when Yaakov heard the words of the beast, he was greatly astonished, and sent forth the beast from his hand, and she went her way. And Yaakov was still crying out aloud, and weeping for Yosef day after day, and he mourned for his son many days. Chapter 44. And the sons of Ishmael who had bought Yosef from the Midianim, who had bought him from his brethren, went to Mitzrayim with Yosef. And they came upon the borders of Mitzrayim. And when they came near unto Mitzrayim, they met 4 men of the sons of Midan, the son of Abraham, who had gone forth from the land of Mitzrayim on their journey. And the Ishmaelim said unto them, Do you desire to purchase this slave from us? And they said, Deliver him over to us. And they delivered Yosef over to them. And they beheld him, that he was a very comely youth, and they purchased him for 20 shekels. And the Ishmaelim continued their journey to Mitzrayim, and the Midianim also returned that day to Mitzrayim. And the Midianim said to each other, Behold, we have heard that Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, seeks a good servant who shall stand before him to attend him, and to make him overseer over his house and all belonging to him. Now therefore, come let us sell him to him for what we may desire, if he be able to give unto us that which we shall require for him. And these Midianim went and came to the house of Potiphar and said unto him, We have heard that you seek a good servant to attend you. Behold, we have a servant that will please you, if you can give unto us that which we may desire, and we will sell him unto you. And Potiphar said, Bring him before me, and I will see him. And if he please me, I will give unto you that which you may require for him. And the Midianim went and brought Yosef, and placed him before Potiphar. And he saw him, and he pleased him exceedingly. And Potiphar said unto them, Tell me what you require for this youth. And they said, 400 pieces of silver we desire for him. And Potiphar said, I will give it you if you bring me the record of his sale to you, and will tell me his history, for perhaps he may be stolen. For this youth is neither a slave, nor the son of a slave, but I observe in him the appearance of a goodly and handsome person. And the Midianim went and brought unto him the Ishmaelim, who had sold him to them. And they told him, saying, He is a slave, and we sold him to them. And Potiphar heard the words of the Ishmaelim in his giving the silver unto the Midianim. And the Midianim took the silver and went on their journey, and the Ishmaelim also returned home. And Potiphar took Yosef and brought him to his house, that he might serve him. And Yosef found favor in the sight of Potiphar, and he placed confidence in him, and made him overseer over his house, and all that belonged to him he delivered over into his hand. And Yahuwah was with Yosef, and he became a prosperous man. And Yahuwah blessed the house of Potiphar for the sake of Yosef. And Potiphar left all that he had in the hand of Yosef. And Yosef was one that caused things to come in and go out. And everything was regulated by his wish in the house of Potiphar. And Yosef was 18 years old, a youth with beautiful eyes, and of comely appearance, and like unto him was not in the whole land of Mitzrayim. At that time, while he was in his Adonai's house, going in and out of the house and attending his Adonai. Zelika, his Adonai's woman, lifted up her eyes toward Yosef, and she looked at him. And behold, he was a youth comely and well favored. And she lusted after his beauty in her heart, and her soul was fixed upon Yosef, and she enticed him day after day. And Zelika persuaded Yosef daily, but Yosef did not lift up his eyes to behold his Adonai's woman. And Zelika said unto him, How goodly are your appearance and form! Truly I have looked at all the slaves, and have not seen so beautiful a slave as you are. And Yosef said unto her, Surely he who created me in my mother's womb created all mankind. And she said unto him, How beautiful are your eyes, with which you have dazzled all the inhabitants of Mitzrayim, men and women. And he said unto her, How beautiful they are a while we are alive. But should you behold them in Sheol, surely you would move away from them. And she said unto him, How beautiful and pleasing are all your words! Take now, I pray, the harp which is in the house, and play with your hands, and let us hear your words. And he said unto her, How beautiful and pleasing are my words, when I speak the praise of my Elohim and his glory. And she said unto him, How very beautiful is the hair of your head! Behold the golden comb which is in the house. Take it, I pray you, and curl the hair of your head. And he said unto her, How long will you speak these words? Cease to utter these words to me, and rise and attend to your domestic affairs. And she said unto him, There is no one in my house, and there is nothing to attend to but to your words, and to your wish. Yet notwithstanding all this, she could not bring Yosef unto her, neither did he place his eye upon her, but directed his eyes below to the ground. And Zelika desired Yosef in her heart, that he should lie with her. And at the time that Yosef was sitting in the house doing his work, Zelika came and sat before him. And she enticed him daily with her discourse to lie with her, or even to look at her. But Yosef would not hearken to her. And she said unto him, If you do not do according to my words, I will chastise you with the punishment of death, and put an iron yoke upon you. And Yosef said unto her, Surely Elohim who created man loosens the fetters of prisoners, and it is he who will deliver me from your prison and from your judgment. And when she could not prevail over him to persuade him, and her soul being still fixed upon him, her desire threw her into a grievous sickness. And all the women of Mitzrayim came to visit her, and they said unto her, Why are you in this declining state, you that lack nothing? Surely your man is a great and esteemed prince in the sight of the king. Should you lack anything of what your heart desires? And Zelika answered them, saying, This day it shall be made known to you, whence this disorder springs in which you see me. And she commanded her maidservants to prepare food for all the women, and she made a banquet for them, and all the women ate in the house of Zelika. And she gave them knives to peel the citrons to eat them, and she commanded that they should dress Yosef in costly garments, and that he should appear before them. And Yosef came before their eyes, and all the women looked on Yosef, and could not take their eyes from off him. And they all cut their hands with the knives that they had in their hands, and all the citrons that were in their hands were filled with blood. And they knew not what they had done, but they continued to look at the beauty of Yosef, and did not turn their eyelids from him. And Zelika saw what they had done, and she said unto them, What is this work that you have done? Behold, I gave you citrons to eat, and you have all cut your hands. And all the women saw their hands, and behold, they were full of blood, and their blood flowed down upon their garments. And they said unto her, This slave in your house has overcome us, and he could not turn our eyelids from him. And we could not turn our eyelids from him on account of his beauty. And she said unto them, Surely this happened to you in the moment that you looked at him, and you could not contain yourselves from him. How then can I refrain when he is constantly in my house, and I see him day after day going in and out of my house? How then can I keep from declining or even from perishing on account of this? And they said unto her, the words are true, for who can see this beautiful form in the house and refrain from him? And he is not your slave and attendant in your house. And why do you not tell him that which is in your heart, and suffer your soul to perish through this matter? And she said unto them, I am daily endeavoring to persuade him, and he will not consent to my wishes. And I promised him everything that is good, and yet I could meet with no return from him. I am therefore in a declining state, as you see. And Zelicah became very ill on account of her desire toward Yosef, and she was desperately lovesick on account of him. And all the people of the house of Zelicah and her man knew nothing of this matter. And Zelicah was ill on account of her love to Yosef. And all the people of her house asked her, saying, why are you ill and declining, and lack nothing? And she said unto them, I know not this thing which is daily increasing upon me. And all the women and her friends came daily to see her, and they spoke with her. And she said unto them, this can only be through the love of Yosef. And they said unto her, entice him, and seize him secretly. Perhaps he may hearken to you, and put off this death from you. And Zelicah became worse from her love to Yosef, and she continued to decline, till she had scarce strength to stand. And on a certain day Yosef was doing his Adonij's work in the house, and Zelicah came secretly and fell suddenly upon him. And Yosef rose up against her, and he was more powerful than she, and he brought her down to the ground. And Zelicah wept on account of the desire of her heart toward him, and she supplicated him with weeping, and her tears flowed down her cheeks. And she spoke unto him in a voice of supplication and in bitterness of soul, saying, have you ever heard, seen, or known of so beautiful a woman as I am, or better than myself, who speak daily unto you, fall into a decline through love for you, confer all this honor upon you, and still you will not hearken to my voice? And if it be through fear of your Adonai, lest he punish you, as the king lives, no harm shall come to you from your Adonai through this thing. Now therefore, pray, listen to me, and consent for the sake of the honor which I have conferred upon you, and put off this death from me. And why should I die for your sake? And she ceased to speak. And Yosef answered her, saying, refrain from me, and leave this matter to my Adonai. Behold, my Adonai knows not what there is with me in in the house. For all that belongs to him he has delivered into my hand. And now shall I do these things in my Adonai's house? For he has also greatly honored me in his house, and he has also made me overseer over his house, and he has exalted me, and there is no one greater in this house than I am. And my Adonai has refrained nothing from me, excepting you who are his woman. How then can you speak these words unto me? And how can I do this great evil and sin to Elohim and to your man? Now, therefore, refrain from me, and speak no more such words as these, for I will not hearken to your words. But Zelicah would not hearken to Yosef when he spoke these words unto her, but she daily enticed him to listen to her. And it was after this that the brook of Mitzrayim was filled above all its sides, and all the inhabitants of Mitzrayim went forth, and also the king and princes went forth with timbrels and dances, for it was a great rejoicing in Mitzrayim, and a holiday at the time of the inundation of the sea Shihor, and they went there to rejoice all day. And when the Mitzrayim went out to the river to rejoice, as was their custom, all the people of the house of Potiphar went with them. But Zelicah would not go with them, for she said, I am indisposed. And she remained alone in the house, and no other person was with her in the house. And she rose up and ascended to her temple in the house, and dressed herself in princely garments. And she placed upon her head precious stones of onyx stones, inlaid with silver and gold, and she beautified her face, and skin with all sorts of women's purifying liquids. And she perfumed the temple and the house with cassia and frankincense. And she spread myrrh and aloes. And she afterwards sat in the entrance of the temple in the passage of the house, through which Yosef passed to do his work. And behold, Yosef came from the field and entered the house to do his Adonij's work. And he came to the place through which he had to pass. And he saw all the work of Zelicah, and he turned back. And Zelicah saw Yosef turning back from her, and she called out to him, saying, What ails you, Yosef? Come to your work, and behold, I will make room for you until you have passed to your seat. And Yosef returned and came to the house, and passed from thence to the place of his seat. And he sat down to do his Adonij's work as usual. And behold, Zelicah came to him, and stood before him in princely garments, and the scent from her clothes was spread to a distance. And she hastened and caught hold of Yosef and his garments. And she said unto him, As the king lives, if you will not perform my request, you shall die this day. And she hastened and stretched forth her other hand, and drew a sword from beneath her garments, and she placed it upon Yosef's neck. And she said, Rise and perform my request, and if not, you die this day. And Yosef was afraid of her at her doing this thing, and he rose up to flee from her, and she seized the front of his garments. And in the terror of his flight, the garment which Zelicah seized was torn. And Yosef left the garment in the hand of Zelicah, and he fled and got out, for he was in fear. And when Zelicah saw that Yosef's garment was torn, that he had left it in her hand, and had fled, she was afraid of her life, lest the report should spread concerning her. And she rose up and acted with cunning, and put off the garment in which she was dressed, and she put on her other garments. And she took Yosef's garment, and she laid it beside her, and she went and seated herself in the place where she had sat in her illness, before the people of her house had gone out to the river. And she called a young lad who was then in the house, and she ordered him to call the people of the house to her. And when she saw them, she said unto them with a loud voice and lamentation, See what an Ivri your Adonai has brought to me in the house, for he came this day to lie with me. For when you had gone out, he came to the house, and seeing that there was no person in the house, he came unto me, and caught hold of me, with intent to lie with me. And I seized his garments, and tore them, and called out against him with a loud voice. And when I had lifted up my voice, he was afraid of his life, and left his garments before me, and fled. And the people of her house spoke nothing, but their wrath was very much kindled against Yosef. And they went to his Adonai, and told him the words of his woman. And Potiphar came home enraged. And his woman cried out to him, saying, What is this thing that you have done unto me in bringing an Ivri servant into my house? For he came unto me this day to sport with me. Thus did he do unto me this day. And Potiphar heard the words of his woman, and he ordered Yosef to be punished with severe stripes, and they did so to him. And while they were smiting him, Yosef called out with a loud voice, and he lifted up his eyes to heaven, and he said, O Yahuwah Elohim, you know that I am innocent of all these things. And why shall I die this day through falsehood, by the hand of these uncircumcised wicked men whom you know? And while Potiphar's men were beating Yosef, he continued to cry out and weep. And there was a child there, 11 months old. And Yahuwah opened the mouth of the child, and he spoke these words before Potiphar's men, who were smiting Yosef, saying, What do you want of this man? And why do you do this evil unto him? My mother speaks falsely and my, my mother speaks falsely and utters lies. Thus was the transaction. And the child told them accurately all that happened, and all the words of Zelicah to Yosef. Day after day he declared unto them. And all the men heard the words of the child, and they wondered greatly at the child's words. And the child ceased to speak and became still. And Potiphar was very much ashamed at the words of his son, and he commanded his men not to beat Yosef any more. And the men ceased beating Yosef. And Potiphar took Yosef and ordered him to be brought to justice before the priests, who were judges belonging to the king, in order to judge him concerning this affair. And Potiphar and Yosef came before the priests, who were the king's judges. And he said unto them, Decide, I pray you, what judgment is due to a servant, for thus has he done. And the priests said unto Yosef, Why did you do this thing to your Adonai? And Yosef answered them, saying, Not so, my Adonai. This was the matter. And Potiphar said unto Yosef, Surely I entrusted in your hands all that belonged to me, and I withheld nothing from you but my woman. And how could you do this evil? And Yosef answered, saying, Not so, my Adonai. As Yahuwah lives, and as your soul lives, my Adonai, the word which you did hear from your woman is untrue. For thus was the affair this day. A year has elapsed to me since I have been in your house. Have you seen any iniquity in me, or anything which might cause you to demand my life? And the priest said unto Potiphar, Send, we pray you, and let them bring before us Yosef's torn garment, and let us see the tear in it. And if it shall be that the tear is in the front of the garment, then his face must have been opposite to her, and she must have caught hold of him to come to her. And with deceit did your woman do all that she has spoken. And they brought Yosef's garment before the priests, who were judges. And they saw, and behold, the tear was in front of Yosef. And all the judging priests knew that she had pressed him. And they said, The judgment of death is not due to the slave, for he has done nothing. But his judgment is that he be placed in the prison house on account of the report which through him has gone forth against your woman. And Potiphar heard their words, and he placed him in the prison house, the place where the king's prisoners are confined. And Yosef was in the house of confinement 12 years. And notwithstanding this, his Adonai's woman did not turn from him, and she did not cease from speaking to him day after day to hearken to her. And at the end of 3 months, Zelicah continued going to Yosef to the house of confinement day by day. And she enticed him to hearken to her. And Zelicah said unto Yosef, How long will you remain in this house? But hearken now to my voice, and I will bring you out of this house. And Yosef answered her, saying, It is better for me to remain in this house than to hearken to your words, to sin against Elohim. And she said unto him, If you will not perform my wish, I will pluck out your eyes, add fetters to your feet, and will deliver you into the hands of them whom you did not know before. And Yosef answered her and said, Behold, the Elohim of the whole earth is able to deliver me from all that you can do unto me. For he opens the eyes of the blind, and loosens those that are bound, and preserves all strangers who are unacquainted with the land. And when Zelicah was unable to persuade Yosef to hearken to her, she left off going to entice him. And Yosef was still confined in the house of confinement. And Yaakov, the father of Yosef, and all his brethren who were in the land of Canaan, still mourned and wept in those days on account of Yosef. For Yaakov refused to be comforted for his son Yosef. And Yaakov cried aloud and wept and mourned all those days. Chapter 45. And it was at that time in that year, which is the year of Yosef's going down to Mitzrayim, after his brothers had sold him, that Reuben the son of Yaakov went to Timnah, and took unto him for a woman Eliuram, the daughter of Abi, the Canaanite, and he came to her. And Eliuram, the woman of Reuben, conceived and bore him Hanok, Palu, Hatzron, and Carmi, 4 sons. And Shimon his brother took his sister Dinah for a woman, and she bore unto him Yemuel, Yamin, Ohad, Yakin, and Zochar, 5 sons. And he afterward came to Bunah, the Canaanite woman. The same is Bunah, whom Shimon took captive from the city of Shechem. And Bunah was before Dinah, and attended upon her. And Shimon came to her, and she bore unto him Shaul. And Yehudah went at that time to Adullam, and he came to a man of Adullam, and his name was Hirah. And Yehudah saw there the daughter of a man from Canaan, and her name was Aliat. the daughter of Shua, and he took her, and came to her. And Aliath bore unto Yehuda Onan, and Shiloh, 3 sons. And Levi and Yishakar went to the land of the east, and they took unto themselves for women the daughters of Yobab, the sons of Yoktan, the son of Eber. And Yobab, the son of Yoktan, had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Adinah, the name of the younger was Arida. And Levi took Adinah, and Yishakar took Arida. And they came to the land of Canaan, to their father's house, and Adinah bore unto Levi Gershon, Kohath, and Merari, 3 sons. And Arida bore unto Yishakar Tola, Puha, Yob, and Shimron, 4 sons. And Dan went to the land of Moab, and took for a woman Aplaleth, the daughter of Hamudan, the Moabite, and he brought her to the land of Canaan. And Aplaleth was barren, she had no offspring. And Elohim afterward remembered Aplaleth, the woman of Dan, and she conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Hushiim. And Gad and Naphtali went to Haran, and took from thence the daughters of Amuram, the son of Uts, the son of Nahor, for women. And these are the names of the daughters of Amuram. The name of the elder was Meribah, and the name of the younger Uzzieth. And Naphtali took Merimah, and Gad took Uzzieth, and brought them to the land of Canaan, to their father's house. And Merimah bore unto Naphtali Yaksesel, Guni, Yetzer, and Shilem, 4 sons. And Uzzieth bore unto Gad Ziphion, Hagi, Shuni, Etzbon, Eri, Aravidi, and Areli, 7 sons. And Asher went forth and took Adon, the daughter of Aphlal, the son of Hadad, the son of Yishmael, for a woman, and he brought her to the land of Canaan. And Adon, the woman of Asher, died in those days. She had no offspring. And it was after the death of Adon that Asher went to the other side of the river, and took for a woman Hadurah, the daughter of Abimael, the son of Eber, the son of Shem. And the young woman was of a comely appearance, and a woman of sense, and she had been the woman of Machiel, the son of Elam, the son of Shem. And Hadurah bore a daughter unto Machiel, and he called her name Serach. And Machiel died after this, and Hadurah went and remained in her father's house. And after the death of the woman of Asher, he went and took Hadorah for a woman, and brought her to the land of Canaan. And Serach, her daughter, he also brought with them, and she was 3 years old. And the damsel was brought up in Yaakov's house. And the damsel was of a comely appearance, and she went in the sanctified ways of the children of Yaakov. She lacked nothing. And Yahuwah gave her wisdom and understanding. And Hadorah, the woman of Asher, conceived and bore unto him Yimnah, Yishba, Yishbi, and Beriah, 4 sons. And Zebulun went to Midian, and took for a woman Mirishah, the daughter of Molad, the son of Avidah, the son of Midian, and brought her to the land of Canaan. And Mirishah bore unto Zebulun Sered, Elon, and Yakleel, 3 sons. And Yaakov sent to Aram, the son of Zovah, the son of Terach. He took for his son Binyamin Mechlaiah, the daughter of Aram. And she came to the land of Canaan, to the house of Yaakov. And Binyamin was 10 years old when he took Mechiliah, the daughter of Aram, for a woman. And Mechiliah conceived and bore unto Binyamin Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, and Naaman, 5 sons. And Binyamin went afterward and took for a woman Aribath, the daughter of Shimron, the son of Abraham, in addition to his first woman, and he was 18 years old. And Aribath bore unto Binyamin Ahi, Rosh, Mupin, Hupin, and Ard, 5 sons. And in those days Yehuda went to the house of Shem, and took Tamar, the daughter of Eliam, the son of Shem, for a woman for his firstborn, And came to his woman Tamar, and she became his woman. And when he came to her, he outwardly destroyed his seed, and his work was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah slew him. And it was after the death of Yahuda's firstborn, that Yahudah said unto Onan, Go to your brother's woman and marry her as the next of kin, and raise up seed to your brother. And Onan took Tamar for a woman, and he came to her. And Onan also did like unto the work of his brother, and his work was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, and he slew him also. And when Onan died, Yahudah said unto Tamar, Remain in your father's house until my son Shiloh shall have grown up. And Yahudah did no more delight in Tamar, to give her unto Shiloh, for he said, Perchance he will also die like his brothers. And Tamar rose up and went and remained in her father's house. And Tamar was in her father's house for some time. And at the revolution of the year, Aliath, the woman of Yahudah, died, and Yahudah was comforted for his woman. And after the death of Aliath, Yahudah went up with his friend Hirah to Timnah to shear their sheep. And Tamar heard that Yahudah had gone up to Timnah to shear the sheep, and that Shiloh was grown up, and Yahudah did not delight in her. And Tamar rose up and put off the garments of her widowhood, and she put a veil upon her, and she entirely covered herself, and she went and sat in the public thoroughfare, which is upon the road to Timnah. And Yahudah passed and saw her, and took her, and he came to her. And she conceived by him. And at the time of being delivered, behold, there were twins in her womb. And he called the name of the first Peretz, and the name of the second Zerach. That's the end of chapter 45. Psalms, Tehilliym, chapter 72. A Mizmor, for Shalomah. Give the king your judgments, O Elohim, and your righteousness unto the king's son. He shall judge your people with righteousness, and your poor with judgment. The mountains shall bring peace to the people, and the little hills by righteousness. He shall judge the poor of the people. He shall save the children of the needy, and shall break in pieces the oppressor. They shall fear you as long as the sun and moon endure throughout all generations. He shall come down like rain upon the mown grass, as showers that water the earth. In his days shall the righteous flourish, and abundance of peace so long as the moon endures. He shall have dominion also from sea to sea, and from the river unto the ends of the earth. They that dwell in the wilderness shall bow down before him, and his enemies shall lick the dust. The kings of Tarshish and of the isles shall bring presents. The kings of Sheba and Seba shall offer gifts. Yea, all kings shall fall down before him. All nations shall serve him, for he shall deliver the needy when he cries, the poor also, and him that has no helper. He shall spare the poor and needy, and shall save the souls of the needy. He shall redeem their soul from deceit and violence, and precious shall their blood be in his sight. And he shall live, and to him shall be given of the gold of Sheba. Prayer also shall be made for him continually, and daily shall he be praised. There shall be a handful of grain in the earth upon the top of the mountains. The fruit thereof shall shake like Lebanon, and they of the city shall flourish like grass of the earth. His name shall endure forever. His name shall be continued as long as the sun, and men shall be blessed in him. All nations shall call him blessed. Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim, the Eloi of Yasharel, who only does wondrous things, and blessed be his glorious name forever. And let the whole earth be filled with his glory. So it be, and so be it. The prayers of David, the son of Yishai, are ended. Hallelujah. All praise and glory to the Most High Yahuwah, in the name of the Son, who hung and bled and died for us. Thank you, Yahusha, for willingly giving your life, for being my blood atonement, for being the blood atonement of the world. Thank you so much, Yahuwah. You are the one and only true God, the Father. I pray this is a blessing to you. And I hope that this is bringing you closer to the Father and encouraging you to study and learn the Word for yourself. Thank you again for following along, for visiting this channel. And thank you, Yahuwah. All praise and glory to you, Father. I will see you in the next reading. Shalom.